Welcome to Coffee Bar Stories,
A small town comedy and DTZ Entertainment presentation.
hosted by Dad and Son.
Welcome to the Coffee Bar Stories. I'm Son, and we have quite a few stories for you today. The old master of ceremonies, the good old storyteller of the day, Dad, is going to tell us all about them. Now, who do we have today? Who is on our list for the story?
All right. Well, I'm going to go with one you guys have known. You and your brothers used to call Uncle Kenny
All right.
and stuff. When I first, before you and your other brother was born,
Mm-hmm.
I was friends with who you guys called Uncle Kenny, and your mom too, and we'd did a lot of shenanigans together and stuff. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a couple of the stories before you guys were born, and then a couple after you're born, and stuff like that.
Alrighty.
But I'm gonna pretty much put us out there though. Seeing that you guys are all older now, I guess you guys can be okay with this, and hopefully
Yeah.
everybody out there can kind of get a giggle out of my mishaps with this guy.
It's always nice to hear the shenanigans of your youth.
Yeah. You got to remember this is 20s and stuff.
Yeah.
So
a while
now
ago.
my age, you're talking well over 30 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be a big part of it too, because you got to remember we can get away with some of these shenanigans because of the time framing. But I figured I'll go with the one on when me and your Uncle Kenny, we'd had a bottle of Goldschlager and stuff, and I don't know if you ever had it, but it's got a sweet taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a heavy liquor, but it's got a sweet taste. So for whatever reason, we drink this whole bottle, and we end up going out for this walk. For God only knows why, we go out for a walk
All right.
in town, and we go walking down the street, stumbling, and just kind of, I don't know, just out for a stroll, I guess, is what basically the way it would come out to be. So we ended up walking along, and we see somebody we know, and we're talking to them for a second, and they have a doobie, a joint to smoke.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, we'll smoke. We're hitting it, walking down the street, and, everything's cool, and all of a sudden, we finished this doobie, and maybe it couldn't have been more than 2-3 minutes of walking. I look at Kenny, your Uncle Kenny, and I'm like, hey, this fool's heading to the east side
Yeah.
of town,
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, we're not going to the east side of town. That's way out of our way. We're not doing that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So this guy that we're walking with, he's pretty messed up as we are.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know he's determined to go to the east side, so I don't even say nothing to him. We're like, he's in front of us, and we're just kind of walking
Basically,
behind
it's
him.
just go your own way, buddy.
Yeah, well, I pushed Kenny, your Uncle Kenny, down the block,
Yeah.
down this side street, and I'm looking, and we're walking, we're stumbling, and I can really start to feel the Goldschlager hit,
Uh-huh.
because I'm pretty much was supporting him throughout this walk. Well, between that doobie and now the Goldschlager's starting to come down like a ton of bricks on me, I barely recognize the street
Mm-hmm.
before it goes bad. So we're walking. Now we're holding on to each other. What in God's name possessed us? We look up. We're at this house of this person we know, this guy we know. And he lives at this time, he still lived at home with his parents and everything like that.
Uh-huh.
Well, we go up to the steps, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, you can't. I go to reach and grab. I'm like, you can't go up there, all droggly and barely, probably incoherently speaking.
Yeah.
I go to grab your Uncle Kenny, and he, just as I grab his shirt, or coat it was, because it was cold out too. I remember that much. We had coats on. Just as I got a hold of his coat, he had hit the doorbell.
Oh, no. Of course he did.
And by the time I'm yanking him backwards, he's already got it pressed in for a good 2 seconds, so it's going.
Yeah.
I hit the ground. He comes down to the ground, and I guess we both roll out a little bit into the lawn and pass out. We're out. And these people, I guess she looked out the window a couple of times, and where we'd been laying, we were at the angle. She couldn't see us yet. Finally, this is the guy's mother, right? She comes outside, or not outside. She opened the door, is what she said. She opened the door on him. And there's 2 bodies, because you can't see us, because, like, I think your Uncle Kenny's hood had gone up over his head, so you couldn't see him. He just was a body with a coat on.
Yeah.
And me, I'm face down, so I'm kind of with a hat on, so you probably couldn't tell who I was, right?
I mean, at that point, what was that lady supposed to think?
Well, yeah, she's like, she grabs the phone. She wakes up. She's waking people up in the house, you know, the dad and everybody. And the dad's a boozer, so he's half out of it, too.
Oh, poor dude.
Oh, man, yeah. And
Probably just gotten
and they called the cops and said there's 2 bodies in their front yard.
Oh, no.
And then finally the cops get there. They come out, and I guess they start arousing us. And this part, you know, this slide being told back to me from the incident until next thing I remember, the cops waking us up. Well, they had told them, oh, we know these 2. And we're like, hey, I'm all wasted. And the cops are like, well, what do you want to do? And they don't want us to have us arrested. So they're like, you know, can't you just give them rides? Well, we don't give people rides home, is what the cops are saying.
Yeah.
And we're like, from her house, or where they lived at, to where we lived at, was maybe, a block and a half away.
Yeah.
Something like that. Not very far walk.
I'm able to picture it.
You could normal sobriety walk. You'd be there in a minute and a half. You could walk there 2 minutes.
Okay.
At the most. It wasn't really nothing, but you had to turn here, turn there type deal. But so the cops tell him, if we can get it up, because Kenny, he's over here, cop got a light in his eyes. Your Uncle Kenny's like, get the light out of my eyes. He's all wasted. And the cop goes, if you can't get him up, you 2 are going to jail. But if you get him up and get to the house, you don't go to jail. And that's all I'm hearing is get this fool up, or else you're going to jail.
Yeah.
So I
somehow
stand up and I grab your Uncle Kenny's arm, throw it over my shoulder, and got him by the waist, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we're going now. You know, I'm stumbling down the street with this damn fool. And I was told later on that they were taking bets, the cops, on whether we were even going to make it to the end of their block. Because we had to turn and then go down a little ways and then turn again.
Yeah.
But by God's gracious, we made it. We probably fell after we got down the block and turned.
Mm-hmm.
I think we fell in 2 alleys. We tripped, crossing an alley.
Yeah.
We tripped into 2 alleys. I remember doing that. And then I remember we're getting to the house. And just as we come to the concrete steps, he nosedives head burst into these suckers. He just plows into this, right?
Yeah.
Turns over and he's like, oh man, I'm just going to bed now, man.
I'm just going to bed right now.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, your Uncle Kenny, he's so out of it. It was horrible, man. I couldn't believe because that Goldslager, oh my God, I was so hungover the next day. It was terrible. So was he. But
I mean, the way you put it, I bet.
Oh,
hangover
man.
from hell.
Yeah, and here we are. We're young guys in the cops. Here we are getting called on, thinking that we're dead bodies in these poor people's front yards and stuff. Because, I mean, in reality, we may have been on the verge of death if we drank any more than we had. We probably were on that verge. So.
Oh, no, I believe it.
Yeah, so as a tale of warning there, you want to kind of watch what you consume. I'll say, because it was ridiculous. And the worst part, I think, we've been drinking beer too, I think, but I can't recall how much we had been drinking or how long we had drink.
Yeah.
But when we hit the bottle, the problem with what we did was we drank it quick. We got the bottle down and out in us quick and started heading out.
Oh, that
So we
doesn't
were
sound good.
he could deflect the alcohol for a couple minutes, but he couldn't keep it like totally at bay. It was coming and coming and coming, and I was faring better, so I must not have been drinking like he did.
Yeah.
And then so
excuse
but yeah, so that's what that story kind of give you a little insight into how, you know, that's kind of a pattern with him and his alcoholism and stuff. You know, we'll go ahead and, you know, let's take this break, and then we'll come back with story 2.
Alrighty.
All right, now we're the second story.
Alright, so we're going to introduce the second story. So from what you told me, it was about Kenny taking a joyride that went a little too wrong. So what happened with that?
Okay, well, we had this blue car that me and him threw in together. It was a blue Cavalier, I think like an 89 or something, and it was junk. But your Uncle Kenny famously never had a driver's license. Could drive, just never had a driver's license. So he decided one night, I guess he had been drinking some beers and stuff, and he decided he was going to go for this joyride. So he grabs up his coat, gets his bowl. He had his bowl for the car, and back then it looked like what, you know, cars back when my youth was, they had lighters in them to light a cigarette lighters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and he had a bowl that looked like that. You basically screwed it apart, stuck some marijuana in there, screwed it together, and had a small hole at the other end, silver
Okay.
one, that you hit. And the end you're hitting out of is the end that looks like the handle that you push in.
Okay,
of it.
okay.
Okay, so
can
he has
picture
that in his coat pocket. He always wore this big old coat, right?
Big old brown fluffy coat.
Yeah.
I know exactly what
Okay,
you're talking
yeah,
about.
you know the one. He had that for, God, years and decades. But he decided he's going to go for a ride. Now, I give him this. I don't think he took any alcohol with him. I don't think he was drunk. I think he just was buzzed up real good
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I don't think he was shit-faced like the Ghost Lager night. He was less than that
Okay.
and stuff. So what he does is he decides he goes for a ride and stuff. And what he told your mother was he was going to go and get cigarettes. That's what it was. So, okay, no big deal and stuff. And we wake up the next morning. He's not there,
Oh God, no.
right?
Yeah.
He's not back. And I'm like, what in the hell? And your mother tells me, because I was asleep when he took the van or the car.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, all right, what the hell is going on? Because he's never been like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, where'd he go to get him? And your mom told me, and I was like, oh, that's a bad part of town, you know. And there'd been like a couple carjackings and stuff by this store because it had easy access to a big road, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, where the hell is he? We start calling people. Nobody knows where he is because by the time we made the phone calls, it's got to be 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And he's going with the car. And I'm supposed to be, thank God, I'm working construction for this guy, so he's picking me up why the car's been missing, because I called and told him, you know, because I don't know where the hell he is. And Nick, you know, we're calling his mom, we're calling his dad, we're calling everybody we know to find out where he's at. And this goes on for, God, it's got to be 3 days or so.
Oh no.
Right? And we're like, where the hell is this guy? And stuff. And finally, his dad calls and finally finds out where he's at. He's in the county jail.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
At least he's not dead somewhere down in a ditch.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is where he was in this other town, you know, in this kind of a upscale town, basically, you know,
Yeah.
where people that got money live is what you would say, right? So for what God's reason, he went for a ride. Is what he ended up telling me. But for whatever God's reason, he goes for a ride up into there, but he turns on a street or something, ends up being a dead end, and pulls in to turn around, and the cops there or something pulls him over for it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess by this point, whatever time this may be, the alcohol in his system is lowered so much that he passes a field sobriety test. He passes the test for, I guess, the blow test too, knowing him. Well, the cop, I guess, goes and searching him.
Of course.
Pulls out the stupid lighter thing.
Yeah, the bowl.
Right. And he's like, oh, yeah, I found this in the parking lot for the car to use as... And the cop ain't buying a word of it. He's like, what are you, crazy or something?
You an idiot?
Picking
No.
up something in the parking lot like that, you know? He's like, no, you know, it's a car lighter. That's what I thought it was. And the cop ain't buying this
Of course.
shit. He's not buying it whatsoever.
I wouldn't either.
Probably
Not-
could smell. He probably smoked it in the car, so you probably could smell it too, but he didn't say nothing about that. And then, of course, so he gets arrested for paraphernalia and driving without a license because the car was legal. It had plates. It had insurance. So
Yeah.
there's nothing the police could do about the car as far as charging him with that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, but they did do the impounding, which that sucked. And I had to go and get the damn car out while he was in the county jail and stuff like that. And he stayed, I think, in the jail for a week and a half. And then he went to court and they released him because nobody was going to bail him. I don't even know what his bail was. It could have been pretty high because certain cities set a high bail back then on things.
Yeah.
Depending on you and the area because they get the money for it or whatever, you know.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, he kind of... so, you know, he gets put on the probation. You know, that's the thing and everything. He's got to get a job. He's he's got everything so screwed up, and of course, wanting to be a pot smoker, the first thing he does, because I'm no help. Right?
Well, yeah.
I'm no help, because I got the car back, right? So I pick him up, bring him back, because he stayed with us at the time.
Yeah.
I bring him back to the house. And we drink some beer, and he's telling me all the stories in the county jail, how one of the guys in there and stuff, and it was a big guy in there that was in, I guess, the cell block or whatever it was, the way they have it set up in there. And he didn't eat, like, first 2 or 3 days. And your Uncle Kenny, you know how, tell everybody what he looked like.
He was a skinny dude, really skinny.
Yeah.
Tall, skinny, Langley looking dude. Like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, basically.
Right, and what he kind of looked like facially.
Oh. I don't know. Just very gruff looking. Like the gruffest, goofiest looking man you can picture.
Almost like a bum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like a bum. Yeah.
Basically a bum.
Yeah. He was probably about 5'10". I'd say he wasn't real tall, but he wasn't real short either. But yeah, I would guess his weight back then probably ran 129, 136 at the best, and 136 would be when he was staying with people and eating off them. You know, we'll get into those stories too, you know, because you know about how that turns out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But with him and the probation, it was right off the bat. I was killing him for that. He's telling me stories. And of course, you know, back then your dad always had a dude with him. You know, I was a big old pothead, so I fire up with him. And he's like, yeah, you know, I ain't got to see him for like 2-3 weeks. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, man, you know, here I am. Yeah, dude, what about this school? You know, I ain't in trouble. What I worry about, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
and stuff. But it ended up, though, believe it or not, you know, that night, it had to have been the booze because why I broke down and did it. I was like, you know what? I told your Uncle Ken, I said, I'll get you a job, man. That way that way your probation be easier, man.
Yeah.
And I'm working construction right now. I'll get you a job with the dude, this and that, and you know, stuff like that. You know, I know the guy is pretty cool. You know, he smokes pot too. He's got a big job coming up, looking for help.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. And all along, the next day, after I thought about what I did, because here I am, got to go through it.
Yeah.
And actually call the guy, because I think he came home on a Thursday, and we had just finished off a job, and we didn't have to work until Monday again, is what the deal was for this guy doing work. He was lining up another job, basically. We just finished one. And and I thought about it the next day. I was like, oh, God. What did I do? You know,
what did I do?
He don't have no skills in this one, and my skills are nothing really. You know, as far as I know a little bit here and there of things. I'm a better woodworker now than I was in my youth. You know, but I have, you know, different experiences about that. But I was like, okay, here we go and stuff. And believe it or not, I got him the job. And that is for another story. That'd be story 3. I'll tell you how that construction job worked out with him, because that one kind of really got bad.
Yeah.
So stick around for story 3.
Alrighty, we're back from our break, and for our story number 3, it's going to be about Dad and Uncle Kenny doing construction. So if you want to take it away, we'll listen to the story.
Okay. I got him the job on the construction for his probation, basically. But here we go. 2 guys that know very little about construction. This guy we were working for, I call it fly-by-night construction, or last chance constructions like that. Because I mean, you're literally hiring people. The guy might have known something, but he had a buddy that knew more. But his buddy did like woodworking for like basically wealthy people with that had cabins and whatnot.
So more so commission work is what he did.
Exactly. That's what it. Okay, but
Yeah.
what he basically did is he consulted the guy on his jobs on how to get them done when he got stuck, because he basically was. At the time, we didn't know this, but he was going by a book, more or less.
He who literally went to the library, checked out Construction for Dummies, and was like, alright, I'm living my life by this book.
Yeah.
General Dumbass, that's what he is.
Yeah, general dumbass contractor. And so we're working for him, right?
Yeah.
And we do a couple small things, like a deck, I believe. And it wasn't a very big deck. I think it was like 8x8, which is not big at all, off the back of a place. And come to find out, oh Lord, on that one, no building permit. The deck gets built to the point where it's got railings up, steps up, and the spindles I think we ended up having to ran out, so we needed some more, and it was getting late that day, so we would just pick them up the next morning and do them.
Yeah.
And finish the job off probably by, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning, right? Start at 7 on the job, right? So we go there, or he comes over, he tells me to go there and finish this job off by myself, because he's going to go and talk to somebody about it, another bid on another job, right?
Yeah.
And stuff. And I'm like, that's kind of odd. He's been talking about this big job he's got coming up. That's why I got your uncle hired in easy and all that, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, I show up there, and there's a note on the fucking on the door.
Yeah.
That it says, you know, something about. I think it was the landlord left it. It was a written note. Something about a building permit wasn't found. The city has already been there. They're pissed, you know, and he's pissed. And I'm like, oh crap,
Oh,
here
God.
we go, you know. And I'm like, this is not good at all. This is gonna be bad, really really freaking bad on me. So I'm like, here I am. Anxiety sets in. I'm like, okay, here I go. Screw it. Grab the spindles, get them up there, and I'm not pre-drilling or nothing. I got a block, so at least they will be spaced correctly, and I may have to put up, we'll say, 10 spindles, right?
Yeah.
So I got the block, and I'm been trying, and some of them, the screw go right in, and others I'm fighting and feuding and trying to, because I'm in a frantic state trying to get these on and get out of there.
Yeah.
Because at any time the city could show up, the landlord, whoever, right? So I finally, freaking out, get this done. Jump in the car, take the hell off from there. Go get your uncle. And we head over to the guy's house and stuff. He called and everything after I got back, checked on the job. And I'm like, yeah, it's finished, man. I said, we need to talk. We go over there.
We need to talk.
Yeah, I go over there. And I'm like, man, that shit wasn't cool. There was a note on the door, this and that. And he's like, well, and I'm like, did you at least get paid from it? Because I'm like, where's my pay type deal? He gives me, because I finally say, hey, man, I finished the job off, so I'm ready for my pay type deal, right? And he gives me $50 cash and a quarter bag of marijuana for that job.
That doesn't even seem like it's close to even being enough for that job.
Oh, it wasn't. All the work I did, it wasn't, and stuff. He was something else, man. And he ended up helping the blue car by, the job right before, we finished off the deck job, right?
Yeah.
The blue car was barely running in, and then it breaks down just as he lands this big job. I think the blue car broke down at the big job. That's what it is. He gets this poor lady. She's got inheritance money, right?
Yeah.
And stuff. So she's gonna do some things to the house. She gets rid of like this old pool in the backyard. Has it removed. She gets, she wants a new deck put on and a new garage and maybe a basement remodel, little a few things like that. Spruce up the house. And he gets the big because he's the lowest bid on the job, right?
Yeah.
I think this job's like a $30,000, $40,000 job, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he gets probably a third of it up front. So we'll just throw out a number, 15, 20,000 he probably gets, right?
Yeah.
And we go and we show up at the site and everything, right, with the blue car still. We start breaking things down, bringing in the tools and start, he's like, tear the deck down. Okay, we do that. We get that done in a day, Then we go home that day. We start to come in the next day and the car breaks down.
Yeah.
And this guy, being the way he is, he's so lazy in finding any way to stay at work because we didn't see him the whole time there.
Mm-hmm.
While we were ripping down this deck, he wasn't there. The first day, he wasn't out helping us or nothing. I think he was inside talking to the lady, talking her up or whatever. You're gonna find out this guy is pretty shady in the long run, right?
Yeah.
It's
already sounding shady enough.
Oh yeah,
so.
and it gets worse by the moment with him. So the second day the cars broke down, and I'm like, crap, and we call him. He had a cell phone, so we get calm. This is when cell phones first come out. That you could get with the cell phone cards, and the cell phone you could get basically was rectangle with an antenna pulled up.
The huge antenna thing.
It wasn't huge. You pulled it up, maybe 3-inch tall antenna at the best, and stuff. But we called him, right? And told him, hey, the car just broke down. Blah blah blah. Here's where we're at. Well, he comes and gets us, drives us out there that day, and he comes and picks us up for the job, which he doesn't even live that far from us.
Yeah.
Okay. And this guy doesn't want to deal with this crap every morning. So about a week after doing this and stuff, and we're tearing down the garage, and we're basically doing outside demo at this point.
Yeah.
which is going easy. Demo is nothing to do. That's no skill. You know, we have common sense. We know if there's power lines, you just don't go crazy.
Yeah.
There's people he has to call and whatnot. Well, we ended up doing this for about a week, and he's fed up. So that weekend, a buddy of his is selling a car, and he goes and buys this car. I think it was like $600 from his buddy, and it ran because he worked at a place. It was like a work car.
Yeah.
Manufacturing or whatever type place. So he had it as a work car, and he was retired, so he quit driving it. We got this car, so he gives it to me and can you use, and we're supposed to pay this guy back, right, for the car and stuff. And we're working, and we go. Everything's going real good with this place. It's like 2 weeks in, because we're just doing demo. Well, we go to the basement. There's not really demo in the basement.
Yeah.
This is more, cleaning out things, but getting prep for drywall and 2x4s, stuff like that.
Yeah.
A remodel. There's no tear out needed in this basement at this moment. So we go to do the drywall and everything down there. Me and King have no clue what the hell we're doing. I've hung drywall by that point maybe 3 times in my life, and it was not good.
And obviously, Kenny has never done it once.
No, he never. Nope, never done it before, and it showed. And we get the drywall put up. After 2x4s, we get drywall put up.
Yeah.
Which there's gaps where you could tell where we cut it at and stuff like that, where the line didn't go straight and things like that. It's just disaster. So basically mudding is the only option to fix these issues. So when we do the mud and taping, we don't know what we're doing there very well at all. We get this mud, and finally the guy that I told you that he referred to as more his counselor.
Yeah.
He showed up to check on things down there because I guess he said something to him, and he's just like, man. So he went and he did a couple of the walls showing us and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then he went on to help this guy plan some more workout, right, that he has to get done down there. And as we're going along trying to do this, it's not going well at all. He wants to do this drop ceiling.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he wants to do a drop ceiling. I'm like, okay, well, we never done one, Well, he goes, there's this one at whatever the box store is, like a Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever it is around there. He gets this 1, 2, 3 easy ceiling tiles.
Yeah.
And what it became to be is, it's for like a flat ceiling that you want a ceiling tile look, but you don't want the drop ceiling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want it suspended, but you want to that look. And it was plastic tracking that you would attach flat to the ceiling, and then you could put the ceiling tiles in, and they have these snap tracks to go to them. That snap on to the flat tracks. Well, that did not work out great because we're going up against not drywall. He didn't decide to drywall it. He drops it with 2x4s.
Oh.
So we're trying to run it on 2x4s. That's a huge disaster. We get the whole ceiling done in there, believe it or not, but it looks like crap.
Yeah.
I mean crap. It's something that doing it home yourself, doing it.
Yeah.
Going, well, yeah. The wife going, well, I can live with it, but what the hell?
Yeah.
Look at that line and look at this one. That's basically what it looked like. Okay. So then,
like a bunch of amateurs did it.
It was by that point, amateur isn't even the word for this. At this point, it is purely, what did I become your training ground on home improvement? Because then he's got to put a cedar closet in, right? So we build a cedar closet. That's not hard to do. So he gets the cedar. That's what she wants. And he puts this, he built a closet and then put cedar on the inside. And the cedar smells, the cedar smell. And he does that and stuff. And so proud of himself is unbelievable. And the whole time that he's doing things, me and Kenny got everything screwed up. Your Uncle Kenny, we got this so screwed up. He's been sanding the whole time.
Sanding what?
The drywall.
Should he have been sanding?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's doing it as right as we can do it right for what we know about how to do it. But you can see waves in where the drywall mud is. And it just,
it looked like baby's first drywall attempt.
Yeah, the walls and seams were horrible. Because that's what he basically was told to work on until he got it right. He's even trying to mud this beam down that they drywalled around. Like, it wasn't a beam, I'm sorry. It was ducking for your furnace that ran. And he was trying to put a drywall, they 2x4'd it and then drywalled it so it looks like but something nice, I guess. And he's trying to mud that using corner. It's a nightmare. Neither one of us know what the hell we're doing. Like, Jesus Christ. And I'm looking at him like, this thing's going south. Because the lady, for the first 3 weeks of this job, because we're hitting the 4th week at this point. For the first 3 weeks, this lady's cooking us lunch every day. Everything's kosher. Yeah. But then on the 4th week, when we're down that basement, because this stuff goes kind of quick when we're in the basement, the 2x4s, the drywall goes up fairly fast.
Yeah.
We have chop saws, we're not doing everything by hand tools. So it is going pretty quick. But that's when she can start to see, oh, crap.
It's all looking bad.
Yeah. And then she's wanting siding. And the basement's not coming along very good. But the guy, old dude, he talks him into coming in to help on the basement.
Yeah.
So he works on a bathroom down there. For whatever God's reason, he takes the guy off the bathroom, thinking he can finish the bathroom, sends me and the guy that knows what he's doing outside to strip the house of the aluminum siding. So we're tearing it down.
Oh, okay.
And then we turn around and there's a truckload of siding showing up. To
replace it with?
Yeah, it's vinyl siding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, he's saying anything to you, bother? He's like, no. He's like, you need to go in and get your buddy, man, because this ain't going to work just 2 of us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what about him doing his, whatever's, his bathroom down there, whatever, what am I going to tell him? Because I'm sure he's got, your Uncle Kenny down there. He's like, I don't care. We got to get this done because you can't leave the house exposed like this. And as we're tearing off this siding more and more and more, next thing we realize, half of it ain't even got insulation on it. It's missing things it should have.
Yeah.
There's been additions or something put in, like box windows stuck out that were never like that before. May had a straight up and down window and they decided to build it out some or something or whatever. None of that was done correctly. And all of a sudden he stops and he pulls me and your Uncle Kenny saying, he looks at me and he's like, man, this just jumped the cost up another 10 grand. You're looking at, at least $5,000 in material, $5,000 in labor costs to do this, because this is double work now. Now we got to repair a few of these things, take some of this off, put new on. The insulation we're going to need, the fiber and the wrap, all kinds. And I'm like, he's screwed. Yeah, she's already getting upset.
Yeah, she's already looking for an excuse to kick you guys out.
She said something. He's like, well, and I said, plus, and this is like the 4th week at this point, right? The end of it, actually. And I'm like, she hasn't served us lunch all week. She's been avoiding us. all kinds of, and stuff. Because that was when we got sent outside was I think the end of the week. And he's like, all right. And he went inside, talked to the guy. And next thing I know, we're done for the day. He's like, man, just go home. And we'll come back tomorrow and we'll see what we can do. We came back the next day. And he had somehow talked her into, well, it needed done, to spend more money on that, and actually gave him another 25,000.
25,000.
Yeah, so he's up to 45. We'll say 45,000 at this point. He's gotten from her.
Yeah.
50,000. 50,000, and the job was only predicted at 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got.
And at this point, the job's not even nowhere near halfway done.
Yeah, 50, and by all the add-ons, the job went from 50 grand to $75,000.
Oh shit.
Was going to be the total bill of this bill, and he talked her into that. We did that. Now we did get the outside sided. We did finish that up that next week because all the material showed up and everything we needed to do because he'd gotten that money.
Yeah.
And stuff. He went out and bought that weekend. He called us on a Saturday evening and gave us an ounce each of weed because we hooked him up with a guy we knew to get a pound from.
Yeah.
He bought a pound of weed right off the bat with that money.
Of course he did.
And then your uncle came and you were like, hey, that's cool, great, awesome. And,
that's cool,
and
great,
stuff.
awesome.
And we go back that 5th week, 6th week, or whatever it is, and it hit the fan.
Oh God.
Oh my God. The two of the people that were living there was like her daughters, and one had a husband, and the other one had like a flighty boyfriend that hopped in and out and acted a fool a lot and tore up shit. They came and they're moving in and nothing's done. I guess the remodel of the basement was supposed to be for them and shit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't done.
Oh God.
And they're throwing fits. And the deck is an issue because all we did is destroy the deck and get rid of it. I mean, everything's cleaned up. Nothing's laying around. The garage is gone, but there is no material showing up for the garage. There's nothing.
Yeah.
We're struggling to get odds and ends done. The siding's about the best we've done and stuff. And next thing I know, we go home and we come in one morning and that dude that helped them out, they referred to, comes up and he's like, man, she's got him upstairs. I think this job's done.
Oh,
and I was like, what? He goes, I think this job's done, man. And I'm like, man, we ain't got paid for the last week yet, man. He was supposed to pay us today for that last week. He's like, dude, we're done with this. We're getting kicked off this job, man. It's over. And I'm like, oh, man. And next thing I know, I can hear him upstairs go, no, lady, I didn't tell you that, lady.
Oh, God.
And she's, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, holy cow. Your Uncle Kenny, because we smoked on the way in, he's high as a kite. He's laughing his ass off hysterically, not
Sounds
hiding
like
it.
him.
And I know, and we're looking at each other. He's like, man, why he's up there getting everything. Let's just get our tools and get the fuck out of here since we're kicked off. And that's what old dude's like, yeah. Because he had a few of his tools, because he had specialty tools too that he had loaned to the guy to use, right?
Yeah.
So we run down and we grab our tools. We throw them in there real quick. And on the way out, we did grab I don't know why it was in there, but like the chop saw and the portable table saw was in the front yard. Why it was already in the front yard, I don't know why. If he put it out there or what, like for us to use and then shit hit the fan for him or what the hell the problem was. But we threw those in the back of his truck Because, he bought a pickup truck with her money, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was his sugar mama, man. He hooked himself up, paid rent up for like 6 months, 7 months. And
God damn.
Yeah, this shady son of a bitch. But, here's me and your Uncle Kenny like, oh, crap. We get our crap. We throw it in. We don't even wait for the guy to come out of the house. We just hit her. we just go. And he's dealing with that crazy lady. The other guy, he's packed and ready to roll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's double checked for his shit and everything. And we leave old boy, the guy, to do his cleanup. The guy, with the construction company owns it. He's got to get the rest of his crap together while they're still yelling at him. The whole family. We get back. We leave. We stop on the liquor store on the way home, pick up some beer, and we go back to the house. We're drinking beer, chilling. He shows up. Man, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get us some jobs real quick. We got to get back on some jobs really quick. I'm thinking, man, you better change your name and go now.
What do you mean we're going to get jobs real quick?
And stuff. So a day or two goes by, and he calls us, and he's like, I got a job for us. And I'm like, all right, man, that's cool, great. Because me and Uncle Kenny, and he did pay us because we did corner him about that. And he did give us, like, the last paycheck we would have received off that. But,
yeah.
But a few days go by, and he got a job for us. I'm like, cool, man, all right. We go into this another bad part of town, and it's an apartment building, 3 stories tall. And on the back of it is a wooden balconies off each, they're not really balconies. They're probably, I think the measurements came out to be like 25 feet long by 10 feet out.
Yeah.
So a 25 by 10 deck, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's off a building. So they're pretty big, And we got to tear this whole thing down. We have no real equipment, no machinery, no lifts, no nothing. We're doing all this by hand, chainsaws and whatnots. we go get this thing. I'm looking at this like, man, there's no way we're going to do this. No way. I don't understand half the engineering in this as far as, I'm seeing beams coming out of the wall.
Yeah.
And stuff. How are we going to put that back in? And your Uncle Kenny, he's just looking at it like, I can do tear down.
He's like, I can tear it down. Don't care about anything
we
else,
can tear it down very unsafely, get it down, but we can tear it down real quick. But building it, you're crazy. He's already, I can tell by the way he's acting, he's like, man, I'm going to call it.
I'm going to call it, yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, oh, God, here we go. So we start on this thing. We do get it down. And, God, it was dangerously taken down. We removed deckings. Then we would remove the framework and stuff until just those beams, and then cut the beams down. I forget how we got those down, but we did some. God, how. And
Timber.
You gotta remember, this is all no real backyards, no place back there. There's maybe 20 feet in the backyard before an alley starts. There's nothing in these types of apartments. They're pretty long buildings for that capacity of homestay,
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly. We get this thing down, and we're there on a day, and we're trying to put anchors in, and he's thinking of building this deck by deck. So putting posts up, throwing these posts into the wall, and building a deck on them. So he has us dig these holes. He showed us, so we dug. Oh, and we brought this buddy of ours on to help us dig. He said he wanted a job, and he said it while we were with the guy that owns a construction company. He's like, man, I could use some labor. Yeah, come on. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, God, here we go. And so all 3 of us, we're digging these holes and putting these tubes in so we can fill them with concrete, do all that. And we put these hooks in that these plates are supposed to go on,
Yeah.
and we measured out, right, from the house to the pole and everything, and figured we got it right. We don't know for sure. We're guesstimating, really. We ain't understand what the hell we're doing.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, he's like, it's lunch. And I'm looking at him like, all right, we're going to go to lunch, but you haven't been here. You're buying shit.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, we're starting to salty at this point. We're turning on the man's well, it's basically what's happening. Your Uncle Kenny, he's been mumbling shit. He's already like, man, fuck this fat ass motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, I
And
know.
I'm
exactly
like,
what you're talking about.
Kenny. And, you know, when Uncle Kenny, he
He
starts
can get vicious.
when he starts talking trash, it's over, man. He's done with you.
Mm-hmm.
And him being the way he is, he was like, screw it, I'm walking. You know? So we go to lunch, and I'm mad at this point. I'm just done with this guy. He showed up, kind of talked ignorant to us, being a jerk
Yeah.
and stuff. So we go to lunch, and I'm like, screw it. I don't go back. I'm like, I ain't going back there. Screw this. I'm
Yeah.
done with this guy. And I drove. So we still had that car that he got us, but we own it basically now. He was stupid enough to put the title in our name, so he had no legal grab at it. Sad to say, but that's how it went back then. But Kenny, that was his way back. We went to lunch. I dropped him off at his place. He was staying at his dad's house, lived on their block from us.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I was supposed to swing around, pick him up after we ate lunch, you know, and head back to the site and work. And I didn't want to go back, so I said, screw it. So Kenny's waiting, and I wouldn't answer my phone, so he ends up getting a hold of Kenny. And Kenny answers the phone like an idiot, guilt trips him, swings by and picks Kenny up, takes him back over there. And
The one man that didn't want to even work to begin with.
exactly. And here he is. I guess they're doing things, and the new guy's just like, man, what the fuck's this dude's from?
What the fuck's this dude's
You know,
problem?
and he's figuring out fucking Fast and Furious that is like, this guy doesn't know shit. He's a snake oil salesman, basically, right?
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is, Kenny tells me, man, he's like, he couldn't figure out why the hell you didn't come back, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know, screw him, you know why and everything. He's like, yeah, I know why. He goes, man, you missed it, though. After we were back, he takes the tape measure to that bolt we put in and stuff. He goes, man, it's 2 fucking inches up. Throws his tape measure down, it breaks. He's laughing and I'm howling. And I'm like, dude, we got to get this guy back. He's just wrong, man. We got to get this guy back. Because he refused to pay us and the whole 9 about it thing,
Yeah.
right? So we did do a payback on him. We took his truck. He had these magnets that said what the construction company was.
Yeah.
We took him off his truck, and we took one, and we put it on the back trunk of the car, the house that he got kicked out of on the job. We put one there to kind of rub it in their face, and then we took another one to a guy he talked trash on and did the same thing, construction.
Yeah.
And we slapped it on the back of his pickup truck. And got him in some shit with people. And
Why you
stuff.
slapping bumper stickers on my truck, motherfucker?
Yeah. Oh, and a tip on that one. She ended up suing that guy for her money back on
I mean,
that.
shit,
I
rightfully
mean,
so. I'd hope so.
for one thing, not even a third of the material ever got purchased that would. For the amount of money he received, he did not spend what should have been allocated for material at all.
And from what you said, he bought 2 cars with her money.
Yeah.
Like,
He bought a pickup truck, and oh my God, this is great. Your Uncle Kenny was howling. He was talking trash. He's like, man, this dude just bought a pickup truck. You know, now he's big pimping type attitudes. You know, I don't know what. Something about him rubbed Kenny wrong, especially because he was kind of a jerk to Kenny, like, because, you know, he was on probation and stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know, he's over here having to go to the probation officer and all that crap.
and so basically,
and-
dude's making fun of Uncle Kenny
And
for it.
yeah, and he's kind of like putting him down about it. and everything, seeing he's really no better. But the guy just, Kenny just was like, we're taking advantage of him.
We're taking advantage of him.
Screw him, you know?
Yeah.
And he got sued for her money and stuff, and lawyers talking to her like, yeah, man, he party with it. And Kenny laughed because he bought a truck and then had to turn around and dump a bunch of money in it.
I mean, hey, he deserved it, though.
Yeah, so, he learned that not to hire two guys that don't know crap about construction, man. Kenny, man, he was a screw up. Shit he did. He started drinking on the job. That was funny, too. He was boozing it pretty good on the job. That was pretty funny. Because he'd get mouthy, not to the guy. Like, if he told him to do something, hey, when you're done, do this, do that, he'd be like, yeah, but after the guy walked out, yeah, fuck him, I ain't do that. He'd just rattling on me.
Like, yes, sir, anything you say, sir, turns around, yeah, go fuck yourself, man. I ain't doing shit for you. Fuck you, man.
Yeah, and you're like, God, Uncle Kenny, man, why don't you chill, dude? He can just get a little riled up and be all...
Calm down before you say something you're going to regret, man. He's going to turn around and whoop your ass.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag on that one. No. Yeah, so never, ever hire me and Uncle Kenny for any construction use whatsoever. And stuff. That'd be a good lesson learned there. So we'll end this story here, and we'll be on to our next one after this short message.
Alrighty, we're back from our break, and we're on to story number 4, the bike trail. We're going to have Dad kick it off for us.
All right, around where we lived back then, there's a bike trail. And on this bike trail, it has they say it's a lake, but it's more a pond than a lake that's off to one side of it. And then you have a little bit of a easement and then the streets and stuff. And then eventually it goes into some wooded areas and stuff as it goes along. We used to take you and your brothers along on it all the time and stuff and go for walks and stuff like that. But there'd be times when me and Uncle Kenny would take them. And usually Uncle Kenny, being Uncle Kenny, be drinking.
Always.
So he's ready to do anything and everything comes to his mind because he's a little fruitcake himself. He's not he's not all there, I would say.
Yeah.
So we used to take you boys and let me see. We go down there. We have maybe 6-7 spots that we would take you guys, I guess, to. The pier was one, but we usually had a game we goofed around on the piers. But when we started getting into the woods parts, that's where it started getting interesting. I remember on a couple occasions when we take you guys down into the woods where we started making little clubhouses for you.
Yeah, I remember those.
Hideouts. Or
always, and all the little trails that they had over there.
Oh yeah, and your Uncle King loved looking for the pot plants that would grow back there. Every blue moon, you'd stumble some pot plants back there that are actually planted on purpose, but most of the time they were from people smoking pot on there that either threw the seeds out of a joint or a bag or where the case was. And
got
stuff.
rid of it and whatnot.
Yeah, but man, and he always had beer on him on the bike trail. Always. He would, even in the summertime, he'd have on some type of a jacket coat that had tons of pockets, like a Levi jacket where he could load it up. He drank like a fish. One time, he left you guys. Thank God I was there,
Yeah.
But he ran out of beer. We were up in the little wooded area. I think it was the beginning of making like a not a clubhouse as far as like in a tree, but like using some trees and branches, starting to make like a shelter.
Yeah.
Type clubhouse.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we were starting to do that. You guys were rounding up wood and dragging them over and stuff, you and your brothers and everything. And next thing I know, he's supposed to be with your youngest brother. Mm-hmm. And next thing I know, I'm looking around, and here comes your youngest brother tromping back through the woods. Thank God, there's that fence there.
Yeah.
Remember that fence that kept you guys, you couldn't go onto the field that was next to it. But your, younger brother, he's coming down from the woods. I'm like, where the hell's your Uncle Kenny? And he's looking at me like, oh,
I don't know. I thought you knew.
He said he'd be right back. I'm like, thinking, what the hell? He runs off to the local convenience store that's about a 2-minute walk away.
Yeah.
Or 3-minute walk away. Runs over there and gets himself a 12-pack of beer. He comes back and I looked at him. I said, man, what are you doing? Why'd you run off? Well, I thought you'd like a beer. I said, I love a beer, but man, you problem is, why you running off and leaving the kid, dude? You didn't even tell me. Didn't say nothing to nobody. I could have sent, the other kid down there to get him, your older brother to get him. What the hell's wrong with you? Well, I was kind of thirsty, man.
I was kind of thirsty, man.
I was like, oh, he's like, it's beer 30.
It's beer 30.
Oh yeah, he
He's
was
a
always
major alcoholic.
Yeah, and always had a beer slogan of some form. That was his big thing. That was some of the things he would pull, run off like that, or he'd get crazy, start climbing up in trees, trying to jump from branch to branch, fall out, roll down, get hurt.
Yeah.
Not bad, but him doing stupid stuff, take off running down the bike trail, and because on the pond side, it had those reeds in it, and he'd jump off into those. A couple times, he got himself cut up pretty good a couple times doing that, but that wasn't smart of him, though.
I mean, I don't think anything Kenny's ever done was smart.
Not really. His biggest problem, he was lazy and liked to live off of people.
Yeah.
That was his biggest issue. Holding a job for him, his demons, that's really, to really know the Uncle Kenny, he had a lot of demons that, between alcohol, drugs, no drive. To me, at a point with him, it was like he had no drive in life.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to be self-efficient or anything like it. It was easier to live off of people and deal with what the situation comes as it comes. And I never could understand that. That's why I wasn't stop being his friend at a point. I just couldn't get why you demise yourself. He's a sad tale, really.
Yeah.
He turned into being a pretty big shithead.
Yeah, though I can say though that when I remember when he used to watch over me and everything, all I remember is the good. Thank God, is all I remember is the good. But I mean, he taught me how to fart with my leg pits and whatnot, and he always showed me my favorite video games, and I don't know, always made me laugh. He was always laughing about something, always.
Yeah, see, that's his younger years, and that's when he was running with me, and he was being taken care of.
Yeah.
That's another example of him, which you didn't know that, being at your age. That's why he was able to do that. He could play with you guys. He's, act a fool. He didn't care, He didn't care what people thought of him. That was a big thing, too. That's why playing with you guys, within reason, he didn't teach you real bad things, I hope.
No, nothing I can remember from him that was bad.
He was a good guy up to a point until he got heavy into drugs. But with you guys, he was always somebody that wanted to hang out and play, because we play with you guys in the backyard all the time and stuff. We destroyed a few of your toys playing.
I mean, I destroyed my own toys by myself. I mean, it wasn't hard for me.
That does happen big time. You got to be very careful with the toys of your era, I tell you that. Them blow-up toys sure didn't last long when you were kicking them around the yard.
Oh God, no, they did not. It felt like none of the toys that we had when I was younger lasted at all.
Yeah, well...
That or the batteries were stolen instantly.
Yeah, you guys in batteries are bad. Yeah, Uncle Kenny used to get so mad about that. You guys would even steal them out of his.
Yeah.
He used to get so mad. He was something else. I'll say that. God rest his soul. So I don't know if he's still alive around or not, but you know, as long as he don't find us, we're safe. But that's just to get people, you know. It is what it is. Hope it entertained you for a little while.
Yeah.
Stuff. You know, kind of like how you guys be on the bike trail nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nowadays, there isn't too much. The bike trail's changed a lot since then. I mean, they've cut down most, if not all, of the brush. So, like, trails are just non-existent anymore. Though, there is this one section, if you go through, like, the minute you walk onto the bike trail, there's this section of fence. You gotta walk through a bit of the trees, but immediately you turn left after you walk in those trees, the section of fence is just cut out. And if you follow it all the way down, you follow the side of the fence, you'll get to this one gate. And it's always locked, but I mean, you can climb over it. And in there is like the only place for like a clubhouse or anything like that. And what they had like from the last time I was there, they had a tree house that was haphazardly put together. It was by so many different people. Like every group that could go to there, they called the place Nude Camp because of all the pornography magazines just lying around. And everyone would go there. They'd go there to smoke pot, drink, and whatnot. And the tree house was just in such a state of disarray that anybody to get up there was like 3 posts like 5 feet from each other just pounded into the dirt. You had to climb up there because every ladder they put up just it was destroyed.
Like disintegrated or
that, or just wasn't. They were just taking 2x4s and nailing them into the tree. It wasn't staying. It was just they were breaking out. The nails weren't sticking. And if you stood up in that treehouse, you had either a chance of being safe, being fine, or falling through it and breaking your ankle. So
it's a 50-50. You
it
flip
is
the
a big
coin.
50-50. But that's like the only place in the bike trail now, and it's kind of like can't go there. You know, I mean, you're not really supposed to be there. And with all the trails that we had, it wasn't really anything against going in them because I mean, you're still on the bike trail. You're not doing anything illegal in them. Well, to what they know, but not like destroying anything.
Now, would that be considered a trespassing situation? Though?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I mean, as far as like if law enforcement wanted to push an issue as far as saying, hey, you gotta go.
They would definitely. If you were to go to like the nude camp, the way to get in is you have to climb through a fence, and I don't know who owns that stretch of property, but I know there's a factory right next to it. So whoever owns whatever that factory is right next to it, probably owns that plot of land. Though I don't know about going through the back entrance, but it's right next to a soap place. So like it's like a big chance it's probably trespassing.
Okay, you're gonna be on somebody's because usually fences obviously
fences
put up for reasons.
But they've never fixed the fence, and it's been demolished like that since I was, like 13?
Okay.
14, something like that.
Oh, wow.
It's been a very long while.
This has to be off of more of a neglected area of the property that isn't needed for any reason.
Yeah, and I don't think they've ever taken like a lawnmower to the place because it's been overgrown for like a decade now.
Yeah,
so it looks bad.
But you'll find that in some areas around the country where factories and whatnots have dead land that they don't even bother with. They own it still, but it's not usable, or maybe a plan to use it one time fell through, so it's left to be whatever until future time.
Yeah, a lot of places though, like the bike trail, and they're all changing. Half the time, like it doesn't even feel like it's for the better. It just feels like places are just now being like extremely neglected and like not being taken care of and not being like the effort's not there to keep it up like they used to.
You can see the disrespect level and the usage of it nowadays than it would have been back then. A lot of people didn't throw trash down, especially if there's receptacles
Yeah.
around that you can throw things away in. There was a lot more respect back then than there is today. A lot more people can get away with things that you wouldn't have been able to then, and stuff like that. And it's a shame that, you know, that places that, you know, families go down.
Yeah.
You know, the shenanigans that me and your uncle and stuff did on them along with you guys,
Yeah.
especially constantly always drinking on it. We never bothered no one. We never acted a fool. One of us always had our faculties to us. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't get full blown with you guys around. Maybe by ourselves was a whole nother story. But when we had you guys, you know, we maintained a certain level.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, different era, different times and stuff, you know, like,
Though they seem to, the bike trail's not really taken care of. The roads that they have connected to it, that they have extended the bike trail through, those seem to be taken care of just fine. So I don't know.
well, that's, you're going to run into that on when they do extensions and add-ons and everything like that, where the older roads are going to be neglected for a while until they can get around to redoing them and stuff. That becomes municipality money type deal. That's what that is. So, but yeah, the bike trails, I'm growing up taking you boys on the bike trails. I mean, you know, when we used to walk, Mom and us used to take you guys on it. Now that was fine, family outings. And there was times that we'd have groups, especially as you guys were like 3 and 4 and 5 years old and able to like ride your tricycles and your little bikes and whatnot. So we'd have a group of like 15 of us or so, you know, between adults and kids, you know, because me and your mom's friends up there and their kids that you guys grew up with and stuff. Now that's a nice family outing on the thing. And, you know, today I don't know if that is even possible to do it like that. You know.
Yeah.
Times have changed so much. But that's how it goes when you get older, son. All right, folks. I hope that was a good, entertaining stories for you and you had a good evening. And from Dad, I want to say good night. And from
Son, we're saying good night. This was the Coffee Bar Stories, and tune in next time. You have a wonderful night.
Thanks for listening to Dad
And Son on the Coffee Bar Stories.
Please join us each week for new stories.
All music in today's episode was brought to you by Kevin MacLeod.